Hey, for those who care, I just wanted to do a quick rant about Undertale. And I know that's a game that's been talked to death, but I just wanted to share my thoughts on it because, I started YouTube like 3 months ago, and I feel like the hype has died down enough to where people can actually look at it without. I guess the halo effect is the best way to describe it. You can't see anything bad about it, all you see are the positives, and don't get me wrong, it's a fantastic game. It's been such a long time since the game has captivated me in that way. It's one of the few games that when you see the end credits roll on the true pacifist ending, I actually felt kind of sad that I erased the save file because I really just wanted to go back and spend time with those characters. Even though they'd still give me the same dialogue options, I just wanted to walk down Snowden every now and then and sort of say hi to them. And it made me feel really sad that they sort of just walked off. And the main reason I wanted to make this was because I had a few complaints about the game, and they're very minor complaints, don't get me wrong, but I feel like I haven't really heard anybody talk about this, so I guess I just had to get this off my chest. Now, one of the biggest things, the absolute biggest things that bugged me about this game was that all of the good I just talked about was in the pacifist run only. You mainly get all of the humor, most of the character development, a lot of the story, more or less a large chunk of the effect of the game only in the true pacifist run. And honestly, that isn't it's not that bad of a thing because the pacifist run alone is like fantastic, as I said before, but that's also the biggest downfall of Undertale, and the easiest way for me to explain that is the fan base. Again, fantastic game, but you have to play it in the pacifist run to get the full blunt of the effect. And the fan base will always tell you that if you ever watch somebody play an Undertale video, it'll be, oh, you missed this, oh, you messed up the pacifist run, oh, you have to do the pacifist run. And that can really turn a lot of people away, but they aren't wrong. You really have to play the pacifist run as your first playthrough. Toby Fox still did make it in a very phenomenal way, where if you do the neutral run, and by the neutral run, I mean, if you didn't know anything about the game, chances are you would end up starting the game and you'd end up killing the first few enemies, and just because you wouldn't know about the talking system. And after you talk to the enemies, or you even start to just hear their little dialogues, you'd be like, aw, these guys aren't monsters. And then you'd save them. And then after that, you'd be like, oh, why did I ever even kill that guy? Oh, whatever. And you go on about the rest of the game, not killing anybody. Maybe even resetting against a few bosses if you accidentally killed them. And then you'd finish the game. But then, if you know anything about the endings in Undertale, you get a little phone call at the end, and if you spared all of the main characters, I believe, and you only end up killing like a few NPCs here and there, it ends with Undyne being extremely sad that she trusted you and that you were turned out to just be a murderer. And it just became very powerful, where like Papyrus is just really sad and doesn't really understand why you would do such a thing, because obviously it's Papyrus and he's very innocent. And then Flowey comes up and tells you that if you want a better ending, you should get I believe he said something along the lines of, you should get here without killing anybody, because Undyne's Papyrus is just like, please don't ever come back, or else Undyne will kill you, goodbye forever. And I don't know, it was very sad. But again, Toby Fox did that in a masterful way, because then you would do the pacifist run if you didn't hear anything about the game. But the thing is, you have to play that pacifist run, and I'm not exactly sure what happens or how far you can get in the pacifist run before the true pacifist run gets triggered, but I'm pretty sure that to get one of the biggest plot developments, you have to do the true pacifist run. And the biggest plot development, in my opinion at least, is the Elfist Undyne love story. And it was truly touching, and Undyne's probably my favorite main character in the game. By main character, I mean the obvious ones. Frisk, Toriel, Kara, Sans Papyrus, Undyne, Elphys, and Azriel, Flowey, and the King. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but she's my favorite character of all of them, just because she's the most consistent. She's just a great character all around. I'll go more into Undyne later. The Elphys Undyne story was just... it was perfect, because, I mean, at first I was a bit skeptical. I was like, okay, why would Undyne, this extremely passionate, like, red-hot... like, the best way I could think of Undyne is just red-hot, always just hyper, wanting to just be the best at everything, top everybody, keep becoming stronger, a no-nonsense fighter. She's just one of the strongest characters, like, emotionally, and, like, she's one of the strongest characters out there for me, in the game, especially. And, again, for her to want to fall in love with some nerd, putting it bluntly, it just didn't make any sense to me, until you just be like, you see Elphys and Undyne hug, and you're sort of like, aww, and then you see Undyne chuck her up in the air and go through the net, which is actually pretty funny but unexpected, just like Undertale. And Undyne gets just starts saying, you're passionate, you're 100% about everything you do. I was like, yes, that actually makes sense. I love that. And that's one of the main reasons Undyne's my favorite, and that was just a powerful moment. I'm pretty sure you wouldn't get that in the neutral run. So, and then you really do need to play the pacifist run, the true pacifist run, to enjoy the genocide run. The genocide run is just, for me, it's just a bit of a broken mess. I honestly feel like it's just there to satisfy the biggest draw for Undertale. The biggest draw for Undertale, for me at least, and what I saw in the comments and really everywhere on the internet, was that you don't have to kill anybody. And I feel like the genocide run was more or less put there just to be a what if you killed everybody. And I say this because a large chunk of the genocide run is grinding. It honestly is just grinding. You kill enemies. You kill an arbitrary, enormous, tedious amount of enemies. And there are a lot of stipulations to the genocide run where if you screw them up, you start over from the beginning. And I felt like that was a bit... I don't know, I felt that to be a bit disappointing. And another thing that really aggravated me about the genocide run was that all of the monsters were seen to be just innocent and, oh, you're a bad guy. And I felt like that was meant to accentuate the whole humans are the real monsters trope. Because, I mean, I feel like that's where the idea for Undertale came from. That you live in a world of monsters, but ironically enough, you're the real monster. And that's obviously accentuated at the end of the genocide run, where the king sees you and it's like, oh, what kind of a monster are you? I'm sorry, I can't tell. And he was genuinely asking. And the impact of of that moment was just, it was immense. Cause you're just like, you're honestly throughout the entire genocide run not wanting to do it. It's just for the sake of curiosity, as I said before. And again, to get the impact of that moment, you have to play the purist run or pacifist run, where he is just like, I know you, you're the human, and he just knows it instantly. But anyways, the whole arbitrary killing monsters effect, I understand why he did it, because for one thing, everybody would get to a certain level and just hit a wall. So you'd have the same difficulty level for every single boss that you'd fight at the end of every walking section. So that makes sense. You would give everybody a difficulty level, more or less, and you can't just grind. Everybody would grind when you get to Undying if you had a limitless amount of monsters. Also, I realized that the reason he made an arbitrary amount of monsters was because the but nobody came effect comes in. And the first time that happens, it's just so devastating and just, it's again one of those moments that defines Undertale. And it's an event which would have tremendous impact no matter whether or not you played the pacifist run first, or the genocide run first, or the neutral ending first. No matter how you play the game initially, the first time you see the but nobody came, you're gonna be stunned. The pacifist run kept a very strong tone of being happy and fun and charming and puns and lively characters, and it was really disappointing to me that the genocide run didn't fully stay with its conviction of being very dark and brooding. And that may sound weird at first, but hear me out. Again, there's arbitrary killings where it just takes gratuitous amounts of times and padding and blah 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 blah. But if you're gonna have to do that, why not have the character's dialogue change over time? Like, it would make sense to me that you would kill a certain amount of enemies and they stop, because then that lets you know that there's actually a set amount of monsters in the area. But having them actually start to physically run from you, like you encounter a monster and then they actually be terrified and run, or try to run, would have been better. Or when Monster Kid runs away after you hit Undyne, I thought it'd be really, really interesting if you ran into Monster Kid and you just cornered him and then Kara killed him. That would have been interesting. And the whole Alphys phase also really annoyed me, because in Alphys' phase in the pacifist run, there were puzzles set up, and it was like, oh, they're accidentally turned on. But then they're all turned off, which made no sense to me. Now, I know that there's the whole Metaton saying that Alphys inserted herself artificially into your journey, but then why wouldn't Alphys set up the traps to actually stop you? It made no sense to me. It really bugged me. I mean, obviously you shouldn't make the puzzles there you shouldn't make the puzzles be there as the exact same thing, but I don't know, there should have been something there. But anyways, Alphys is evacuating everybody, and monsters can't leave. So where would they be? And the obvious answer, if you played the pacifist one, that is, would be in Alphys' secret lab. And I thought it'd be very, very interesting to actually go down there, because what was in the lab? All of the monsters is dead relatives that Alphys was trying to do experiments on for determination. And I thought it'd be so interesting to have the monsters be just terrified of your character, but at the same time being disgusted at Alphys. Like, what are you doing? What did you do down here? Why is my relative over there? Why is he messed up? And then having Alphys just be extremely just scared and disappointed, and then you march in and then all the monsters start running, and you're just in that corner where Alpha saved you in the pacifist run, and then it's just you stepping forward, stepping forward, stepping forward, and then you slaughter them. That would have been so much more interesting than just having Kara come up at the end and just be like, "Oh, I'm gonna erase your save file." And furthermore, with the whole Sans battle, I understand that Sans had to be tough, and I'm not gonna say that his battle was bad. It was genius, but Sans is a time traveler, so in my mind, the first time I was playing the Genocide run, I thought that maybe Sans was gonna go back in time, the first moment that you came, and then fight you. Like Toriel would just stop Flowey, and then it'd be like shame for somebody to be attacking such a sweet child or whatever she said, and then have Sans come in and then just try and kill you instantly. That would have been such an interesting uh, path to take. But again, I'm not. These are suggestions. They probably would be really bad for me. I don't know. And that's my Undertale rant for now. I know this is very very consistent and they're scattered thoughts, but this is all unscripted. It's just literally me rambling while recording myself. So take it as you will. That those are some of my opinions on Undertale. If these are actually interesting opinions to you, please let me know. I might just write them up and make something a bit more coherent and structured. So, thanks for watching, and I guess I'll see you guys later. Bye.